get you a jig. Doesn't have to be mine. I wish it was mine, but get you a jig, go fishing, take your kid fishing, take a kid fishing, take your wife fishing, your girlfriend. Hell, take them both. I don't care. Just get out there and go fishing. Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Finn with Finn TV. Welcome back to the bait cave. Got a highly requested video since the last video of me catching, I don't know, 8 or 10 fish on Panoptics within 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And a lot of people wanted to know about my jigs, requesting information about my jigs, and I don't really like to push my own products, but today I'm just going to do a video on how I hand tie them. Not a lot of jig manufacturers out there that hand tie and hand make their own jigs, and everything. The only thing that I order is the hooks and the weed guards here. We're going to try a different way of recording. I've got my iPad set up and I've got my GoPro set up. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to show you guys how I hand tie these jigs, and just kind of part of the process in case you want to start making your own jigs, or if you're, I charge $5 a jig, and the reason why that is because I don't have a fancy setup of manufacturing these jigs. Everything's hand poured. I hand file the lead sprue, hand painted. I glue each one of these weed guards individually in. I hand tie. I select my skirt material, hand tie each skirt individually. I put them in a package. It's just a lot of process, and honestly, if I didn't enjoy doing this, I'm definitely not doing this for the money. It's just fun making jigs. I mean, I can, at $5 a jig, after I get hooks, order hooks, receive hooks, heat my molds, heat my lead, pour my jigs, and I have about a 10% waste on my jigs whenever I pour them, whether they not fill all the way. I've got I'll show you right here. I basically handcrafted that hook there for a bait keeper, and everything that I build is handcrafted, and I really enjoy it, but I really don't even make a minimum wage making these things. There's just, if you're going to do this, you're not really doing it for the money. You're doing it because you enjoy it, and I enjoy it. It's something that I do, like today that's raining outside. But anyways, let me show you how to tie these jigs. Alright, so first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a finished jig. Second thing you're going to need is you're going to need to select your skirt material. I put 60 strands on my solids color. I mean, there could be anywhere from, I say 55 to 60 strands, but there's always 60 strands. But because if there's one strand missing, I don't want to, I don't want to misrepresent anything. So, got my jig, I got my skirt material. Next thing I want to talk about is, these are just a pair of cutters from Home Depot. Probably just $1 or $2. Gonna need a pair of them. I love these flat nose pliers. I've tried to use the needle nose, and the needle nose, it doesn't, like, whenever you twist that wire, if your wire is a different length, it just holds on to the longer wire. But with these here, it holds both better. Not always, but better. You're gonna need you a good pair of scissors. I like these. There's not a brand on there. It's just Pakistan. But I imagine these are some type of medical scissors. Couldn't tell you where I got them from. But other than that, you're gonna need some wire. I buy my wire from Hobby Lobby. This is a 24 gauge wire. You can use 20 to 24 gauge. I wouldn't go any smaller than 24. I wouldn't go any bigger than about a 20. 22 is actually perfect, but they were sold out last time I picked up some. And this 24 gauge is plenty strong enough. So first step of my process is I'm gonna line these this skirt material up. So there's 3 strands. I'm gonna line it up the best that I can. And then I'm gonna take my wire and I'm gonna snip me about, I'm gonna say it's about 3 inches. So that's about 3.5 inches. So then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna bend my wire like this. And then I'm gonna take and slide it up on my skirt material. So I mean, I just eyeball it because I trim all my skirts, but we're gonna measure it for video purposes. So we're looking at 2.5 inches exactly. So then I take my hook and my jig, I take my hook and put through here, and let me move the camera. And I just kind of cinch that down to the table. So if you can kind of see how that's done here. By the way, we've got everything on camera. I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving y'all a good picture of this. All right, and then what I do, and this is key, is to flip this jig over. And then I'm going to take while this wire is loose, I'm going to take and make sure that it's evenly around that jig. You know, a lot of times you get a little more on the back side, but you don't need as much on the front side because of that weed guard. So I'll put me about 2 twists in there by hand. I hadn't pulled anything tight yet. And if you'll see, I kind of got them spread apart, basically, you know, as close to the same length as I can. You know, I'm not going to spend a ton of time getting it precise. And then I'm just going to hold the head with my bird finger and the hook with my index finger, and I'm going to cinch it tight. And I'm pulling pretty hard on that because a lot of times, I mean, you can see these pliers that I pull these handles off of these pliers by pulling on, you know, so you don't want to be, you know, you hadn't got to be too careful. You can break this wire, but I tie these really tight, and then I twist it down to where my twists are real tight. You don't want any loose twists. So when you're getting a feel for this, what I like to do is I like to twist, you know, and if it slides on that jig head, it's too loose, put a few more twists in it. But I've probably tied tens of thousands of jigs like this. So I know by feel, but you're going to tie 100 jigs before you get a feel for it. So just make sure that wire is not too loose. But if you get it too tight, you can break this little copper wire. But I take these pliers after I cut it. I don't know, I've got 4 twists in that cut where I cut it. Anywhere from 3, 4, 5 twists. You won't want 2. You'd rather 3 to 5 twists left in it where I cut it. Then I bend it over. And you can see here, you know, this is what you have. So then I just take and I make sure my jig's level. You know, I don't want one, you know, I don't care how, you know, if the skirts are off, I just want them pulled even. And I'll snip the ends off with my scissors. I'll snip the bottom, and I like anywhere from the bottom of the hook to, I don't know, I'm gonna say it's a half to 5/8, about 5/8 9/16, 9/16, 5/8 below the hook. So here's a piece here that it didn't snip all the way. So I'll just cut that there. I'll straighten the jig out, straighten all the skirt material out. That right there is a good looking jig right there. So that's exactly what I want to see. All right, from here, I make sure my skirt material's even. I'll trim it if need be. Throw it over here to the side, start on the next one. But what I want to talk about now is whenever you get the jig, and and this doesn't go for just my jigs. This is any jig. This weed guard material is basically a standard size. So what I like to do is right here with the hook. Now I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to cut somebody else's jig because I don't know what y'all want. But this is key on my jig, is to cut that weed guard to where it barely misses the end of that hook. All right, I like to cut it kind of at an angle. All right, I also, depending on what time of the year, this time of year, I'm going to want a full skirt. That water temperature is colder and that skirt material is going to be not as, at 55 degrees, this skirt material, it's 70 degrees in here, I reckon, at 68 or 70. And this skirt material is real loose, but you put it in water, in 40-degree water, it's not going to have I guess it's going to have more memory. I guess what I'm saying, it's going to be colder. It's not going to, this material isn't going to want to move as well. I'm going to trim some of this skirt here, for, say this, I'm going to fish with this today. And that is how I would fish my jig. So I cut, there's some of these pieces that's, a 1/2 inch, 9/16, 5/8 long, So, but like I said, just cut it at an angle, and there you go. Here's a sample of all my colors that I have. This is a 3/8 jig here. This one that we just tied, I believe, it's a 1/2 ounce. So you can see the difference in the head size there. But anyway, this one, this is a new color that I call this one the Mac Daddy. And it's got a lot of copper in it. It's got some black, some gray. It's got some just some brown. Here's a good looking jig. This is one of Jalen's colors right here. I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody says black and blue. Gerald Swindle, I love watching Gerald Swindle. Hank Parker, every good fisherman that I watch, they always say black and blue. Well, black and blue always works, and it does, it always works. But I'm going to tell you my favorite color jig, and this is for pond fishermen, more than river and lake fishermen, tournament fishermen. But if you've got a pond, or if you've got, like Lake Martin, Logan Martin sometimes, but Lake Martin especially, this is the color right here. This is a root beer color. I fish this root beer color more than any other color jig. Alright, this is the Sexy Devil. It's got a brown jig head. This is the 3/8. It's got some red, a little bit of brown pumpkin, and it's got some black in it, a little bit of red flake. But this is what I caught those fish on Logan Martin the other day. In that video that was, I had so many requests and stuff on Facebook and whatnot. But this is just like a green pumpkin candy. This is a camouflage. This is something that Jalen fishes a lot. This is a copperhead. And that's the one the color just like we just tied. Peanut butter and jelly. This is a good pond color. This is a good Logan Martin color right here. Now this does good a lot of places lay late. That purple really does something. Jalen likes that color too. Jalen's a big jig fisherman. He'll fish a jig year round. I don't fish a jig year round. I mean, I do, but not every time I go out I jig fish. But this is just a green pumpkin. This right here, this is basically my new black and blue jig. You know, the jig that, quote unquote, everywhere, the only color jig you need, according to, you know, Gerald Swindle and you know, Hank Parker and some others. But G-Man's a good fisherman, but and he knows what he's doing. He's about full of crap, but I enjoy watching him, and I enjoy watching his YouTube and whatnot. But he talks a lot about a black and blue. But this Junebug is my new favorite jig. This jig works in any watercolor, and it's similar to a black and blue. I mean, it's black head, and it's purple with green. And this is just black and blue, you know, with blue flake. So, I mean, you can see some difference there. But this just works in any watercolor. It doesn't matter if it's stained clear. It doesn't matter if it's muddy. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold or the pressure's high or low. This Junebug just always works for me. Black and blue, it'd probably be my third favorite jig. Used to be my first favorite, but now it's my third. And these are some colors Jalen likes to throw. This is a good color. You know, this isn't something that, you know, even though it's a jig I make, and, you know, I don't really feel right pushing my own products, but what you know, my honest opinion of this isn't a jig that I'm going to throw year round. These 3, 4 jigs, hell, the more I look at them, the more I see that I'll throw. But these 4 jigs here are really versatile. That's the Junebug, black and blue, and the root beer, the peanut butter and jelly. This jig right here isn't as versatile, but where he fishes his home lake, that's what I would throw. So, because he catches a lot of big fish on this jig, and I'd like to catch big fish too. But basically, what I'm saying is this jig is a good jig, but this isn't any watercolor jig. This camo, this isn't any watercolor jig. This color right here, this is not any watercolor jig. Green pumpkin, I mean, that works all over the United States. All right, I'm gonna teach y'all something. Best information I ever got. I read a book. I've read tons of books on bass fishing, but I've read a book that anytime you put red in a jig, or any bait with red, a largemouth bass is 7 times more likely to hit something with red in it than any other color there is. So that's the best information you got out of this video right here, is always fish something with red. If you're not catching fish, pull out this jig right here. They like red. They like, you know, their bass are kind of like bullies. They want to get a weak, easy prey, easy meal. You know, something that's already kind of been beat up on. But those are the jigs. I appreciate y'all for watching. It makes me feel good when I got as much messages as I did about this particular jig after I made that video and posted on Facebook. Facebook does a lot better than YouTube. YouTube doesn't really push my videos a lot. But put them on Facebook and I can get way more views. And you know, I don't know why that is. I know there's a lot of talk about YouTube right now, but if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, and y'all be safe and get your jig. Doesn't have to be mine. I wish it was mine, but get your jig, go fishing, take your kid fishing, take a kid fishing, take your wife fishing, your girlfriend. Hell, take them both. I don't care. Just get out there and go fishing. Y'all have a good one.